Get ready. Blues Traveler and Jen Blossoms. Plus special guests, Spin Doctors. September 10th, Lordson Amphitheater at Waterworks Park. Blues Traveler, Jen Blossoms. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster. Blues Traveler and Jen Blossoms. Presented by the Willis Summer Series.
What's up? Turn this music down a little bit. Buckets here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Andrew Downs, usually joined by Jake Brend, but Jake decided to go fan tonight. He went over to Hilton and watched the Iowa State men beat the crap out of Colorado and, had a few beers. We decided to give him the night off, let him kind of soak it in as a fan, and we went to the bullpen, or I guess to the bench here on Buckets, and went to our buddy Mark Freund. What's up, Mark?
How you doing, AD? Happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You were like one of the first names when Jake and I first started talking about this show. We were like, there's going to be some nights where one or both of us can't be here.
Yeah.
We need kind of a deep bench. And you were one of the first names, and you're the first one off the bench. So we appreciate you being here.
No, thank you. It's been like 10 months now since I've done anything like broadcast related. So the training wheels are back on a little bit. We'll see how this goes over the next 40 minutes.
Is this your Iowa Everywhere debut?
No, I did a CW pod with Williams about wrestling in April, right before WrestleMania. And
that's right. I remember
that. But since then, I haven't really been around.
That was one of those that I listened to out of obligation.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand. I'm not into it, so I didn't really understand. It was more just you two are kind of entertaining, so I listened to it.
Loyalty to your friend too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, you've been out of the game for a little while. Jake Brend is experiencing this game as a fan. What's it been like for you? I know this was something in the 8 months I had where I did nothing like this. What's it been like for you to be able to kind of embrace your fandom again and witness all sports as a fan and just a citizen rather than a reporter?
Dude, it's been so fun. College basketball has always been my number one in my heart, above the NFL, above Major League Baseball, above the NBA, all those things. I grew up on it. So I really wanted to just experience this season in particular, this time of year as a fan. And I told Brian Harden when I left WHO 13, Brian reached out to me and I just, saying congratulations or whatever. And I told him, hey, don't be surprised if you have another season ticket holder come through your queue in about 8 months. And sure enough, I'm a Drake season ticket holder now. Nice. And I've actually already made it to one home game at all of the Big Four. So I'm just trying to soak in as much hoops as possible, man. It's been fun.
That's awesome, dude. I'm the same way. College basketball is my favorite sport.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Marquette guy, so that makes sense too.
Yeah, we're not very good this year, but I figured I didn't know how many opportunities I was going to have to do this, so I thought I better rep them just the one time I got.
Absolutely. So we are going to go through all the Big Four teams tonight in the next 30, 45 minutes or so. The Iowa women are playing right now, and we'll kind of keep our eyes on that game. Obviously not going to dive into that game very much, but there's a lot to talk about with the Iowa women outside of this specific game, and obviously a huge game coming up this weekend against USC. But we'll start at the most recent game, Mark. It just ended a few minutes ago. We appreciate Chris Williams and Cyclone Fanatic for making some room for us here on Buckets. Iowa State just kicked the absolute crap out of Colorado, which is what you would expect a team of Iowa State's caliber to do to a team of Colorado's caliber.
Yeah, that's what you had to do, right? You're at home. I almost felt a little bad for Jake because he got to go to the game as a fan, right? But you knew what this game was going to be. I took Iowa State minus 17.5. That was the easiest bet of the night.
Yes.
Colorado they don't have the guys to hang with Iowa State. And especially in this little bounce back era wave that Iowa State's kind of sitting in right now, you felt pretty good about being at home tonight against a team like that and being able to handle your business. And, you love to see that trend of putting these games away early, right?
Absolutely, and coming out strong, which is something that they struggled with for much of the season. Even in games where they won, even in games where they ultimately looked really good, they struggled with the kind of coming out of the gate, letting other teams hang in. And they have enough talent that they'll be able to beat most teams on nights where they don't fully have it, right? Where they don't come out of the gates going. But if you want to do, and Jake is big on this, teams that win the Big 12 regular season go to the Phog Allen Fieldhouse and win, right? And they beat Houston and Arizona. Like, I mean, they win these big games. It's not just gravy when you're at the caliber Iowa State is. You have some expectations here. And so, yeah, really good in these last 3 games. Now built up a winning streak after losing 2 in a row. To see them really starting to kind of come together. I think a lot of people were worried about the Otzelberger fade that happens at usually towards the end of seasons. This was a little earlier. Maybe we already hit that lull, and they're coming out of it now. And if so, I think that's a really good thing for this team.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is what you need to do, and especially with the schedule that we know is coming, right? You've got the whole Kansas, Houston, Arizona, BYU situation on the horizon. It's time to stack these wins up and really play like one of the best teams in the country, right? You get the 18-point halftime lead against UCF a couple Tuesdays ago. You get the big lead out at Oklahoma State, and then you're up 30-4 tonight. Like, this is what you should be doing to these teams in the Big 12 to show, like, hey, you're ready for this stretch that's about to come.
Jamarian Bateman, 17 points in 19 minutes off the bench. My favorite stat, and it's not great for him, but Milan Momcilovic shot 50% from 3, and his season percentage went down because of that. And just you look, and it's 6 Cyclones in double figures. Again, what you want to see against you don't need any of your guys. You don't need Joshua Jefferson or Milan to light it up and go for 30 in a game like this. You need to spread it out a little bit and probably run some plays, try some things. It's not a glorified practice. That's not fair to Colorado to call it that, but you can work on some things in a game like this.
Yeah, of course. And then you have guys like Jamarian Bateman scoring 17, like you mentioned, played ahead, had 12 off the bench. Like these are good confidence games for these guys in a Big 12, schedule where, again, it's about to get more daunting. Build up the confidence for some of those guys that, maybe haven't had it all season long.
Milan just shooting out of his mind. Again, 50% tonight, which drops his season percentage. He's 54% coming into tonight from 3 on the season. I was looking at the stats, and there are other guys who are closer than 10 percentage points, but the next power 4 guy is a full 10 percentage points below him, or at least that was the case coming into tonight. Second in the country, 4 threes per game, had 3 tonight. I've seen it's as these seasons go on and these trends that begin early continue throughout some of the conference season. It may have sounded ridiculous in December to say things like, is Milan Momcilovic the greatest shooter in Cyclone history? But now as we get closer to February and he's continued the pace that he was on, it seems less ridiculous to start pondering things like that.
Well, I mean, if you look at like, I was looking at Basketball Reference earlier, and according to that, that's not the be all end all, but he is number 1 in career 3-point percentage right now. Wow. The one guy that came to my mind, and I look, I can't say I've lived in Iowa for long enough to know every Cyclone basketball player. I've been here for about a decade plus, not 30 years. The one guy that came to my head was Scott Christopherson. Yeah. He was a really good shooter, but he probably doesn't have the stats to reflect that. He was the one guy, but no, I think, how can you not conclude that it's Milan at this point? I mean, did you hear the stat that the broadcast brought up early, that where the color guy, I can't remember who it was, he was like, Milan Momcilovic could miss his next 52 3-point attempts and still be a 40% 3-point shooter. Jeez. And I was like, wait, what? And then he missed his first one. I was, oh no, not that broadcaster jinx. But then he made his next 3, so it was fine. But yeah, he's just shooting the lights out right now. And again, 6 of 9 from the floor in total, 3 of 6 from 3. He's clicking on all cylinders. That's what you want to see.
He is. What do you think about this Kansas State game coming up? I mean, obviously a rival, Jerome Tang, but that's a game Iowa State. It's on the road, but you shouldn't have any trouble down there in Manhattan.
Yeah, I don't, at this point, what reason do we have to doubt that they'll be able to go? I mean, Kansas is just outmatched, or Kansas State rather is just outmatched. Yeah. I mean, I would expect Iowa State to be 6 to 8 point favorite. I don't see any way they go down there and lose. Crazier things have happened, of course, but this team, with where they're at right now, they seem to be clicking. Give me the Cyclones.
So a lot of worry during that 2-game losing streak, and I think part of it was just how they looked. I mean, it's one thing to go and lose to a maybe a below their standard Kansas team, but a good basketball team. And then you lose that Cincinnati game, and a lot of concern during that time about, were we too high on this team? Are they maybe not the team we thought they were? It's certainly like coming out of that Purdue game and all the hype started to be, hey, this is like a national championship contending team. Now, after 3 games where they've looked really good again, are you back to, hey, the ceiling for this team is legitimately a Final Four?
Yeah. I mean, listen, we understand what they went through earlier this season. It's hard to win on the road in college basketball. The best teams can have bumps in the road, games or weeks where things just, aren't quite right. We could ask this question in a month and maybe the answer is much different given what we know is coming. But right now, like what's the trend? What I wrote it down here. KenPom, top 21 offense, top 31 defense. That's the formula to be a national champion for 19 of the last 20. Iowa State, 15 KenPom offense, 7 KenPom defense right now. The analytics tell us the ceiling is national championship, not just Final Four. I mean, Iowa State hasn't been to an Elite Eight since 2000, right?
Right.
At this point, granted, I'll try to, not put the cart before the horse here, but we need to see what they do over the next month. But right now, it's not unreasonable to think that the floor could be an Elite Eight with the way that this team is playing. Yeah,
this feels like Sweet 16 or bust. Anything short of that. And as you just, I mean, really, if they continue this pace, if they win some of those big games, if they beat, BYU and Houston, if they're competitive in those games, maybe they go down to Kansas City and win another tournament title in a league like this, that would say a lot. They're a 1 or a 2 seed going into the tournament. I mean, maybe a Sweet 16 even feels disappointing if they don't get to that Elite Eight, which again is wild to say, but that's kind of the ground we're standing on with this team right now.
And it is wild to say because look, like I was right there watching them lose a game that they, maybe shouldn't have in the second round last year. Like these things happen. We know the tournament is unpredictable, but with the stability of the roster, the way that the team has kind of gelled with the pieces that they brought in. And when you just watch the games, your eyes tell you that this team is Final Four good.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, Iowa everywhere is everywhere, including the Lauridsen Amphitheater, September 10th, Waterworks Park. Jake is too young to I asked Jake last week. I was like, what year? He was born in 2000. He was born after all of these bands already had their hits. Blues Traveler, Gin Blossoms, Spin Doctors. This is right up my alley, Mark. I'm going to this concert. Not only is it because of the music, which I'm excited for, but a beautiful September night in Waterworks Park. I'm excited about that. A Thursday night where you're not, competing with any football. And then the music starts at 6, and there's no opening act beyond these 3. It's these 3 bands. I mean, you're gonna get home and in bed, get the babysitter on home before it's too late. This is ideal. Tickets are on sale right now, Ticketmaster.com. But you can win a pair of tickets. We have 10 pair to give away on Iowa Everywhere. Just go to iowaeverywhere.com, enter to win. And I think a week from Monday, so February 9th or whatever that is, on Two Guys, they're going to announce the winners to that. So you still got a week or so to get into that contest. Do that. Which of these 3 bands, if you could only see one, which of these jumps out at you most?
Gin Blossoms. They're Follow You Down and Hey Jealousy, right? They're both those songs. Yep. Yeah. Those are the ones that I remember just from the 90s radio hits.
They're the band that if you because Andy was saying, he's like, oh, I know, Blues Traveler. He's like, I think I only know 1 or 2 Gin Blossom songs. I was like, I bet if I played you 6 of them, you would know them.
Okay.
They were just on the radio all the time in the 90s.
Was Spin Doctors Two Princes?
Two Princes, yep. And
yeah.
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Exactly. Yeah,
I mean, I'm there. If you're there, I'll be there.
I am absolutely going to be there. My wife and I already got our tickets.
Awesome.
We are excited. All right, let's move on to the Iowa men who survived a scare against USC last night. Gave up a 17-point lead in the final few minutes, but held on to win. Did USC think they were down when they fouled Bennett Sturts late in that game? Who knows? It sure seems like it, but that was a gift. And Mark, I said this last week on this show because we were just coming off that Rutgers game where Iowa didn't play well against a not very good team, but ended up finding a way to win. Sometimes avoiding a bad loss is as important as grabbing a big win, and I think that's still true. This team is 2-0 in those two games, regardless of how they looked. But at some point, you're playing with fire a little bit here, and for a team like Iowa, built the way Iowa is, you go out west like they have to over this next week or so, and you play the way you did for much of that game, and really for all of the Rutgers game, and you're going to find yourself on the wrong end of one of these scoreboards.
Can I offer you a counterpoint?
Please.
I actually didn't come away from that game last night pushing any kind of panic button. And the reason for that, I mean, I'm not chronically online anymore like I used to be back
right.
in the reporter days, but the one tweet I did see was from Chris Hassel, who mentioned the 14:30 mark in the first half. They're down 10-0 to the 14:30 mark of the second half. They're up 15 or 17 or whatever it was. He said, great 20-minute stretch of basketball. And I'm sitting here like, it was even more compressed than that. It was like they were down 10 with 5 minutes to go in the first half. And then they're up 17 in, like 5 or 6 minutes into the second half. It was like a 10.5-minute stretch where they outscored USC 33-8. Like that shows you how they can get going and how they can dial it up on defense simultaneously and really put the clamps on teams. And then, of course, if you want to pick nits, maybe you shouldn't give up that 17-point lead. But also you had a guy in Cam Woods who
my God
literally went nuclear out of nowhere. Sometimes weird things happen in college basketball games. I didn't walk away from that game like really all that worried about it. I mean, you give up the lead, that's bad. You get a gift at the end. Thank God you win that game. Again, the resumes don't care about anything but wins and losses, not how you get there. But I don't know. I kind of stepped away from that game last night and I was like, a lot of weird stuff happened in that game. I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah, Cam Woods had 25 points on the season coming into that game, scored 33 last night, and almost all of it in those final 5 minutes where I will watch its lead evaporate. And then, as you said, I mean, maybe ultimately these are good for this team who can look back on these moments in tough situations that they'll certainly have moving forward. And, hey, we've found ways to win. I think the emergence, I guess, or the continuation of Tavion Banks being kind of the number 2 guy to Bennett Sturts has been really good for this team. We've talked for a while, hey, who's that going to be night in and night out? And Alvaro Figueres certainly has your doppelganger, certainly has the potential to do that, but he's just been very inconsistent. And it was good to see him get off the schneid a little bit last night, but still, that's not, even his performance last night is not good enough to kind of be that right hand to Bennett Sturts. We've seen, or I guess coming into the season, we thought Brendan Haasen was going to kind of be that guy. He's barely playing. He had more minutes last night in 5 than he's had in several games combined before that. And so, it's been good to kind of see this team find itself. Really, Ben McCollum find himself as a Big Ten coach. This West Coast trip is going to be interesting for this team, but I think ultimately the only stat that matters, as you alluded to, is the W, and Iowa got it, and now they're over 500 in the Big Ten and have a stretch of games here where they can kind of make some hay.
You know what I liked about the way that Iowa won that game last night? They forced 15 turnovers and 12 of them were steals. Like live ball turnovers, man, like they make such a huge difference. I think they ended up losing the points off turnovers, but they ended up winning the fast break. And that was a lot of getting hands in front of balls and getting out in transition. Like I liked what they did there. We know Iowa's not a great transition team, but like when you can get 12 live ball turnovers like that and capitalize. That showed me some growth, right? Like we have talked about this with Iowa, right? At some point it was going to matter that a bunch of these guys were playing at Drake last year, but they, to your point, like you said, they just keep finding ways to win. And, now we see this is a really interesting stretch because kind of similar to Iowa State, you have 4 games that are, winnable games. And then you've got a really tough stretch where you've got Purdue coming into Carver. You've got Nebraska coming into Carver. I think their final 4 home games are all against teams currently ranked. So
that's right.
You've got some games coming. And so kind of similar to Iowa State, see if you can stack up some of these wins here in the next week or so before the big ones come.
So over these next 4, they're at Oregon Sunday, at Washington Wednesday. They come home for a game against Northwestern and then back out to Maryland the following Wednesday. 4-0 feels like you're asking too much from a team that's this young and this kind of undersized and inexperienced and has this many deficiencies, things like free throw discrepancy. And if Bennett Sturts has an off night or even an off half, they really struggle to score. Yeah. Is 3-1 like a realistic expectation for Hawkeye fans over these next 4?
Yes. I wouldn't rule out 2-2.
Yeah.
The road trip to Maryland, who knows? You should win that game, but who knows? I think 3-1 is the likeliest outcome. You got to go to Oregon. You should win that game. Oregon's not good. They've got Nate Biddle and nothing else. The game that concerns me is the Washington game because you're staying out west, right? That's the last night of your West Coast trip, and it's a late tip. So
it's like
by the time
10 o'clock Central,
exactly. By the time you get to that game, I don't know, maybe I was a little tired, a little gassed. It's been a long trip, whatever. You come home, you got to get that next one against Northwestern on Super Bowl Sunday, and then again, hope you can go to Maryland and get that one. Come out of it 3-1 before you play Purdue.
And that Purdue game, looms large. That's Valentine's Day. Should be a great crowd in Carver Hawkeye Arena. A Purdue team that's lost a couple now and is kind of staggering a little bit. That Iowa had on the ropes in West Lafayette to get that return trip. That's going to be a fun one. I'm going to be in Carver for that one. I'm excited.
Hey, one former Drake coach just beat Purdue. Why can't a second?
There you go. Absolutely. I love it. So I think this team is certainly NCAA tournament bound. Most bracketology right now has them like 7-8 seed right around there. Is that what you would expect from is that again a fair expectation? I've gone through this all season, Mark, where on one hand, the way Iowa has played in moments and the way they've kind of been in and out of the rankings and how the analytics love them and really how we love them, the way they play on the court. You kind of forget that, this is Ben McCollum's first year. We're halfway through his first season. These guys all played at Drake and several of them in D2 the year before that, right? Yeah. You kind of lose perspective. You have to kind of have this double perspective of, realistic expectations for Ben McCollum's first year / realistic expectations for a team that the analytics love and is, right on the edge of the top 25.
I think a 7 feels a little too high for me.
Okay.
Do you feel the same?
I think that's I would sign up for a 7 right now.
Of course, you'd sign up for it. But yeah.
So yes, I think that's
okay.
Yeah.
A 7 just you're gonna have to.
I want to say they can go get a 6, but that's like if everything works out and they play, you know what I mean. But
like if you could get what is it? Purdue, Nebraska, Michigan, and who am I missing?
I think Ohio State at home.
Okay.
Yeah, those are your home games.
If you can go get 2 of those, depending on which 2 it is, why not? Right? Like if you can get the Purdue and the Nebraska or the Nebraska and the Michigan, I know that's asking a lot. That is asking a lot. But if you can get 2 of those and then handle your business elsewhere, a 7's certainly within reach. Like you said, maybe even a 6. To me, it just feels like we're kind of headed for. Okay, they're going to be up for some of these big games, but maybe there's a game along the way that, like a Rutgers or, something happens where they trip up once and you're okay. Well, there's the game that maybe costs them a seed line.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of feel like 8 feels like the right spot to me, but 7, 8, somewhere in there.
The Iowa State women had a huge win last night, went on the road to number 21 Texas Tech, won by 14. They seem to have certainly kind of gotten their swagger back a little bit. Time will tell how good they really are. When Addie Brown comes back and whether or not she's able to be the impact player she was for the first half of the season, get into shape and all of that, before March. But at the very least, they've stopped the skid mark, and it looks like they're having a little more fun out there.
It does. I know like Chris Williams was kind of had to be talked off the cliff with the Iowa State women about a week ago. And the concern was, well, will they even make the tournament? And
will they win another game? And like, to be fair,
I know
some of those games, now some of those are understandable. You lose games in the Big 12, you lose on the, some of those games though, were just like head scratching and not competitive.
Yeah. I get where those arguments were coming from, but I also was kind of thinking like, come on, they're going to make the tournament, like they're going to right the ship. Fenley's a good enough coach. Obviously, the numbers now say that, right? That's a longevity record as much as anything, but
shout out to him. That's incredible.
Yeah. Shout out to him, winningest Big 12 coach. That's great. I love Bill.
I do too.
I'm so happy for him. This team's I got a feeling they're going to get it right? You've got that cornerstone piece that you need in Audie. They're in every game because of her.
Yes.
Jada Williams has started to turn it on a little bit, getting Jackson back big time.
Huge.
So if you can just kind of tread that water, maybe get a couple more big wins, and then bring Addie Brown back into the fold, you're going to have something. And even if you're not in that hosting conversation, even if you end up as a 7 seed, if Iowa State gets Addie Brown back in late February and they land on a 7 line, what 2 seed's going to want to play that team at home?
That's the key, right? Exactly. It's like the big goals are off the table. I think probably even hosting as we sit here today is probably not worth talking about. Maybe they work themselves back into that. But yeah, as you just laid out, hey, keep your head above water, get yourself to where you're not an 8 seed. And you have to play UConn in, the second game or something like that. You're right. Get to that 7 line or better and get Addie Brown healthy. Get her back into shape. Find a way to work her back into this team. And maybe players like Jada Williams, who have kind of taken this step in her absence, continue to do that. And this could be a really, really dangerous team come March.
You never want to think like, oh, could the Addie Brown injury have been a good thing? Of course, we're not going to make that argument, but like, are there positives that could come out of it? Certainly. I think you're seeing one in Jada Williams, just as an example.
Absolutely. Hey, Siouxland Scale Service jumped on as a sponsor of Buckets. As the spring fertilizer season approaches, Siouxland Scale helps ensure your mass flow meters are accurate, compliant, and ready for distribution. And believe me, you do not want a non-compliant mass flow meter, Mark. I mean, that's...
It sounds pretty serious, man.
Keeps me up at night. You can schedule your annual meter certification before fertilizer application begins. Give Siouxland Scale Service a call, 712-255-3282. And one of the things that's weighing me down, powered by Siouxland Scale Service, is the Taylor McCabe injury for Iowa women's basketball. Not as much, and we'll talk about what it means for the team, but really more than anything, just for her as a player. Like, I mean, it effectively ends her season, definitely ends her season, effectively ends her career. She's not a WNBA prospect. Sounds like she's going to try to get into coaching, maybe a grad assistant position at Iowa, something like that, moving into next year. She's obviously very well liked and loved by the coaching staff and her fellow players, but more, along with that, on the court, such an assassin from 3, has just been through so much on a young team. To have that level of veteran presence, I think, is important. It'll be great. I saw she made the trip out west, so that's cool that she's there and will be a part of the program. But to not have her on the floor in some of those big moments that are certainly going to come, where you can find her to hit a big 3, a player who's been into Final Fours and championship games, and again, for a very young team that Iowa is, to have that veteran presence, that's going to be missed.
Hopefully, though, she could be an extension of the coaching staff then.
Yeah.
That's the way that you contribute in situations like this, where you can see the game from a perspective that even the coaches can't, because you were out there at one point in time. So, again, you don't want to say that any injury is a good thing, but positives maybe you can take out of it. And while we're on the Taylor McCabe note, can I also add what's weighing me down is Peyton McCabe's injury? How brutal is that story? Within 90 minutes of each other, her sister at Drake also gets hurt. And that injury, apparently, I know some people that were in the crowd that day. They said it looked like ugly. That sucks, man.
It does. That's so brutal.
What a tough break for that family.
Oh my gosh. And it sounds like Peyton might be back. I don't think they've ruled her out for the season.
Let's hope so.
So maybe. And yeah, the Taylor injury, it was non-contact in that first minute of that game against Ohio State. And then you could tell by the emotion on her face, like pretty much right when it happened. But then as she comes back out in street clothes with ice on that knee and getting hugs from all the players, and it's just one of those where it's like, oh, okay, we didn't know and they didn't know, but she knew.
And she traditionally, if I'm recalling correctly, I covered enough Iowa games back in the day. Like, she's not an overly emotional person. No. So when you see those, when you see those looks on those types of people, that's when you know, like, shoot.
The Iowa women down 6 at halftime at USC right now. But Mark, I mean, it was at least 15 in that second quarter that Iowa was down.
Oh, okay.
I saw they were. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I've been just kind of keeping my eyes on it, but they were getting worked. Zane here was like, Iowa getting absolutely worked right now. That was about 10 minutes ago that he said that, and it was absolutely true. But they've been able to come back. Looks like Taylor Stremlo with 11 points to lead Iowa right now. Sounds like she had a really big late second quarter, and Iowa's worked itself back into this game.
Going West, man. You know that as an Iowa football fan.
Absolutely.
Going West is – and this is the world we live in now, right? You're going to have to learn to deal with it.
Get used to it.
But also, like, they've won 3 straight games against ranked opponents. You got to go West. Like, would we fault them or blame them for, tripping up at some point here? It's been a great stretch, like it can't last forever. Sometimes these things happen and, we'll see. It's not over. Certainly plenty of time to get back.
And like the poise they've showed in these 3 wins against top 15 teams and really all season long has been incredible. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to pull this out. But this USC team is good. I think Chad Lysico, I've heard him say a couple of times, they're very similar like Iowa football this season where they're very close. And yeah, they haven't won any of these games against really good teams, but man, they're losing by single digits in some of these games. And they have Iowa with a target on them because Iowa beat them late last year in a big game, and these are 2 programs atop the Big Ten that are going to be going at it for a while here. So yeah, this is a big game. And again, Iowa just playing so hot right now, man. They've out to 9-0 in the Big Ten, the first time in 30 years. Lisa Bluter was never 9-0. Caitlin Clark was never 9-0. Jan Jensen in her second season has this young Hawkeye team at 9-0, and including that blowout of Ohio State on Sunday, which. Again, you lose Taylor McCabe in the first minute. You got a top 12 team. You've already won a couple of big games. Like maybe there is a letdown. Nothing. I mean, they just smoked them from start to finish.
I heard on 2 Guys I think it was this morning, Chris Hassel saying, like, who would have expected this to be this far removed from Caitlin Clark, to have Lisa Bluter retire, and here they are clicking, firing on all cylinders as ever. Jan Jensen, what an incredible job to kind of take the baton and just run with it to the degree where, as you said, 9-0 in the Big Ten, 3 straight wins against those top 25 teams. Like, they look the part. And I don't, to think like we're how many years now removed from Clark? 2-3 years. That they'd still be here. I mean, I get it. The Caitlin Clark thing brought a bunch of great recruits into the door. It was still Jan Jensen's job to do something with it, and she has. Credit.
Absolutely. And Addie Deal getting the start tonight, a young freshman who's really kind of come on. And then the transfer portal, Chit Chat Wright, man, she makes this a whole different team. She's so much fun to watch. To see a point guard who can play the way she does, it's just one of the best things in basketball to have a point guard who plays the way that she does. She's so much fun. She's got years left of eligibility. Like, as you just said, Jan Jensen is kind of taking the baton and running with it. And this is a team kind of ahead of schedule right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But you also still want to capitalize on Hannah Stolke's senior year and kind of do what you can while you can. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. You still have to do the UCLA game Sunday.
Yeah, you do.
Or is it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday. Yeah.
But like, could they host at this point? There's no reason they couldn't host an NCAA
Absolutely.
tournament game. It just shows again, like the job that she's done putting this team together and kind of holding continuity over from, the days where Carver was, selling out and everything is such a commendable job. Shows how strong the connection is to the fan base. And also I wanted to talk about this. Like, we're seeing that in the TV ratings too. Like, did you see the thing the other day that was out there about the two most watched teams in college basketball, women's college basketball, being Iowa State and Iowa? Like,
really?
That's awesome. Yeah. So I think it was Iowa State 1 and Iowa 2. I was kind of wondering about, to kind of go back to the Jada Williams thing, like she's kind of a social media star, right? So between her and Audie Crooks, like I wonder if people are really gravitating towards Iowa State when they're on TV, but then also like Iowa, like you said, chit chat, fun to watch. People know who Hannah Stolke is. She's obviously like the holdover from the Clark era. You're still maybe pulling in some of that viewership from the Clark era. Everything still firing on all cylinders women's basketball wise in the state. And you love to see that Iowa has always been a women's basketball, girls basketball. We know this, the history tells us that. And to see that continue to not only elevate, but maintain at that high level, really, really cool to see.
Yeah. That game Sunday afternoon, 3:00 on Fox, not Fox Sports 1, not Fox Plus, right? Like big Fox on a day where there's no NFL. To have Iowa women's basketball against a blue blood team in UCLA, kind of get that's huge. And I mean, Caitlin Clark took the Tiger Hawk and advanced it for sure. But the way that Iowa has been able to capitalize on that and continue that has been really cool. The Drake men, man, speaking of another hot team, won 4 of their last 5, beat Evansville last night. We were in the Knapp Center doing buckets a few weeks ago, I guess right at the end of the year, right before New Year's.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, maybe they can figure this out. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a weird year, rebuilding year. And they've had their ups and downs. There's no doubt about it. And more downs than ups early on in the year. But
100%.
Eric Henderson has really found something with this team, and they're playing well in the Valley right now.
They are. So as I mentioned before, I'm now a Drake season ticket holder. I've been at the Knapp Center for every home game. I've had a chance to watch this program pretty closely. They have shown a lot of improvement. They have made strides where you want to make strides, and they're doing it at the right time. My concern with Drake remains that while they are playing better, it seems to me like the version of Drake that is not very good is never far away right now.
Yeah.
And you saw that in the first, 30 minutes of last night's game against Evansville. That's the worst team in the Valley. And they were down by as many as 19. Give them credit. Incredible comeback. But Drake should not have been in that position last night. You saw it in the second half of that Belmont game where they're up 25 and they cough up the lead.
That was brutal.
It just feels like, early in the season, Drake fans were talking about what is the identity of this team. It seemed like it had stabilized a little bit. But again, just kind of that reminder last night that maybe the bad version of Drake is like never that far away. And so while you would feel good about potentially going to St. Louis and, hey, you know what you got to do, you have as good a shot as any to get hot and pull some upsets, you also have the potential to just totally flame out. Until I start to see a little more stability, I'm just going to have a hard time believing that, they can go to St. Louis and win 3.
And the schedule is tough. I mean, these next 3 games, Bradley at home, at Belmont, at Illinois State, those are all teams that have beaten Drake already this season.
Right.
So you could see this going into a skid here pretty quickly. And yeah, I mean, you laid it out there. The beauty, for lack of a better word, of being in a 1-bid league is what you have to do. And You can have a terrible regular season. You can have an up and down regular season. You can lose bad games and grab big wins, but ultimately all that's going to matter is what happens down in St. Louis. And Eric Henderson's job right now is to get his team ready for that tournament. Drake's 6th in the MVC right now. What do you think the chances are that they're able to kind of work their way, stay where they are? Yeah, maybe avoid that first night, which is a whole lot different than it used to be. I mean, for a long time, we used to think that first night of the Valley tournament is the 4 worst teams. It was the Drake Invitational for so long, exactly. But now, I mean, it's if you're not in the top 5, you're playing that first night, so it's not a bad thing there. But Drake right on the edge there of maybe they can work their way and stay in that top 5 and avoid that first game.
Yeah, and look, for as much as I just kind of talk negatively about how I feel about where they're at, you have so much runway here to make some hay. And how spoiled are we as people that watch Drake and as Drake fans that you're talking about this team who not that long ago, as we just said, it was the Drake Invitational, but now the standard's been set. And so
yes,
Hendo's got a big job keeping that standard up, but they are equipped to do it. I mean, the one area that really concerns me is the post. They don't have a lot of toughness. They don't have a lot of depth in the post area. You can have killers. You can have Jalen Quinn. You can have on the right night, Jay-Sean Thomas. On the right night, Eli Shetler go off and do their thing. But they don't have a whole lot of post consistency right now. Oku Federico I think he's proven himself out to maybe not be a great matchup for a lot of these big guys in the Valley. Isaiah Carr is fine, but they need to find some toughness down low to make me feel like, hey, this is a team that can make a deep run.
2 guys, I don't remember which Chris posited this question, but like after all the kind of turmoil of the last few seasons for Drake in the off season, would it almost be better to finish out the season well, have a don't hit the skids, have a nice season, go down to St. Louis, maybe win a game, but have an exit where you don't make the NCAA tournament, maybe you don't make a postseason tournament at all, and there's less of a target. Now, if you're a Valley team, you're ripe for the picking for Power 4 teams, and that's going to happen. It's just the way college basketball is right now. But maybe there's less of a target on some of those guys if they don't have the platform of an NCAA tournament run, of an Arch Madness run, and maybe some of those guys are overlooked and they stick around in Des Moines and are able to kind of help Hendo build something there on Forest Ave.
You have some loyalty pieces too, right? You've got Griffin Goodberry, who I believe was committed to Hendo before he took the job here. Owen Larson came with him. The guy that concerns me is Jalen Quinn. That dude can play. He has won Drake games. He has taken over more often than not. Look, Drake fans, I'd love for him to stay. Teams are coming after Jalen Quinn in the offseason. You got to start getting prepared for that. I hope he stays. I hope he likes it here in Des Moines, likes being in a Valley Star, and likes playing for Hendo enough to stick around. You're going to have to fight off some pests coming for him in the offseason.
Well, the one team that doesn't have it going right now, everybody else, and it was the same thing last week. It's like, man, such good vibes around all of the Big 4 basketball teams right now. The UNI men, 6 of the last 7 they've lost. The one win against Murray State, which last week on Buckets, Jake and I were like, oh yeah, there's no way they're gonna win that one.
I was there.
Way to win that. Oh, that was the one you went to.
Yeah, I went on Saturday. Yeah,
you need to go to more games apparently.
I guess.
Lost to Southern Illinois by 15 last night.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of it. Mark, is they're not just losing these games; they're really being outplayed for most of these games right now. This doesn't look like a team that's on the verge of figuring it out and finding something.
Which is so funny because when I surveyed the Valley before conference play started, you kind of thinking okay, the Valley's pretty top heavy. You've got your Illinois State, you've got Belmont, you've got Bradley, you've got Murray State, and you've got UNI. And
yeah,
it looked for the first week or so, couple weeks of conference play, it looked like, okay, they're right there. And then they drop 4 straight and you're like, man, what's going on? They kind of, just my naked eye on Saturday, seems like they are kind of have deficiencies in the same places that Drake does. Like their post play is not, in my mind, good enough right now. Trey Campbell's great. Leon Bond is great. You've got great guards. That's what wins you games in March. But to stabilize in the post, like, got to find something there. And yeah, a head scratcher. You have all the juice and the momentum of beating first place Murray State, and then you go lose a game at Southern Illinois. Again, just kind of shows how hard it is to win in college basketball. I know it's a trope, but on the road, it's just tough.
And we know Ben Jacobson's a really good coach, but man, it's just been a long time since like UNI has had one of those special seasons.
Yeah. But hey, shout out Drake and UNI for sending Murray packing from Iowa.
Yeah, hell
they
yeah.
came here and went 0-2, and the Knapp Center last Wednesday was so much fun. Great job by Drake getting that first win over Murray State, and then UNI kicking them back down to Kentucky there.
Absolutely. He's got kind of the opposite of like UIC, who had a couple of wins over both those teams. It's like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah,
then
exactly.
they both beat Murray State.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Buzzard Billy's Buzzard Beater. It's the end of the show here, Mark, and what we do is we'll kind of go through the games this weekend and just very quickly what we think is going to happen, win or loss for these games. But Buzzard Billy's an awesome place to go, especially if you're heading to the Casey Center for, maybe an Iowa Wild game, something like that, an Iowa Wolves game. Buzzard Billy's, big portions, budget friendly, family friendly. I love that about it. Always hurricane season over there at Buzzard Billy's. Cajun classics. Also, check out their breakfast. These full court press places always do breakfast well.
I've heard the Buzzard Billy's breakfast is underrated. I've never had it.
Well, you have to check it out sometime.
I will.
All right, it's time for the Buzzard Beater. All right, so just quickly, who's going to win? We'll start with Iowa State, the men at Kansas State.
Win. Iowa State.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Also Saturday, the Iowa State women hosting UCF.
Give me Iowa State.
I agree. Yeah,
got to keep that train rolling.
Exactly, in your home and
your home.
all of those things. Yeah.
Coming off that big win, you need that one.
Drake hosting Bradley. I assume you'll be in the crowd at the Knapp Center. Do you expect to be happy as you walk out?
I got a feeling Drake's gonna bounce back really strong here this weekend. It's the hometown team weekend.
Yeah.
Drake really needs it. Stripe the Knapp. They're gonna go the blue-white thing.
Very nice.
It should be a really good atmosphere. Give me Drake, and I love that game. The Drake Bradley game has become like that secondary rivalry for Drake. This is the perfect time to catch Bradley for hometown team weekend. I'll take Drake.
I hope you're right. I'll go with Bradley in that one. And then UNI hosting Evansville also on Saturday. Busy day on Saturday.
Better be UNI.
It's got to be, right? It kind of feels like if they don't get this win, the season could kind of go into a tailspin.
Evansville was sneaky, though, man. They had some trees, and that's what gave Drake a lot of trouble. We talked about the post thing earlier, and if UNI's posts are not ready, Evansville could have the same type of attack against UNI that they did against Drake. That concerns me a little bit.
All right, moving over to Sunday, you got the Iowa men at Oregon.
Iowa.
Yeah, give me the Hawks in that one. I'm with you though. I'm more worried about that Washington game.
Me too.
It'll be interesting to see how Iowa comes out here against Oregon. And then the Iowa women, the big game, number 2 UCLA, a real test for this team. You got the Bruins.
Yeah, I'm taking UCLA.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the line is in that game because I think Iowa will be able to keep it close.
Yeah, I think they should keep it close, but again, like you're talking about second game of that West Coast road trip, that's going to just be a really tough. And it seems like UCLA fans are pretty behind that team right now. Like,
absolutely,
crowd could be a factor there as well. I'll take UCLA.
Yeah,
obviously you don't feel great about that, but hey, they're number 2 in the country for a reason.
Iowa down by 7 early in the third quarter at USC. We'll see if the women can pull out a win here. I'm gonna go and watch some of that game. Mark Freund, man, thank you so much for doing this. This has been a lot of fun. We appreciate it, and you did a good job.
Had a blast, man. Thanks so much. Love talking hoops.
All right, that's it for Buckets. Coming up here on Iowa Everywhere tomorrow, we got Murph and Andy at 1 o'clock. Happy Hour with Keith and Jenny tomorrow night. One of my favorite shows, one of the most popular shows on the network. Brenda will be back on Sunday with Bigger Than 12, along with Derek Duke, who's a real character We appreciate all of your support here. If you missed any of this, I mean, we had 2 guys today. We had legends and listeners. We had Overthinking, now Buckets. If you missed any of this, please go back and follow us. The easiest way to do that is just to follow, like, subscribe wherever you're watching, wherever you see us. We appreciate that support. It really does mean a lot to us. We'll be back next Thursday with Buckets here on Iowa Everywhere. Thank you for joining us.